Hey guys, I'm Michael Riscica from youngarchitect.com, and I did it. I bought the Apple Vision Pro. I've had it now for about 48 hours and I've been using it a ton. And I got some strong opinions about it. I'm a registered architect and I've got a master's degree in critiquing things. And so let me tell you what I like, what I don't really like about it, and the kind of okay, we'll see what happens with this. Let's get into it. So before we get started, I feel like I need to disclose who I am and who I pledge my allegiances to. When it comes to technology, we're not all equal. And so first off, I want to say I love tech. I love all tech. I use iPhone cell phones. I use PC computers. I love Samsung TVs. I always buy Dell monitors. I use the Adobe Suite for design tools. We use Dropbox for file management. We use Google Workspace for emails, for Google Docs, spreadsheets. And Google Chrome is my favorite browser, and I've been using it for years. And another thing about me is I'm obsessed with technology news. It is the only news I follow. I don't follow politics or celebrities. I have no idea what's going on in the world. I love seeing progress. I remember, dialing up through Prodigy and AOL, and here we are. We got freaking computers strapped to our head. I love seeing where did we come from and where are we going? One last thing is you got to understand, I'm not an Apple fanboy by any means. I consider myself independent. I love the iPod, the iPhone, the AirPods, even the iPad. However, I don't like Apple computers, the software, the operating systems, how things are done in an Apple ecosystem I just don't like it. It doesn't work for me. Now, I also need to mention, I do run my own business, and investing in technology, in my opinion, has always had a very high return on its investment. I use a $200 headset because last year I spent 700 hours on Zoom meetings. And so why not get the good technology? And that was part of why I bought Apple Vision Pro. All right, I think we also need to talk about 2023. You know what the biggest advancement was? It was usable AI. How long has Siri and Alexa been around for, and how helpful are they to you in your lives? Why haven't Apple and Amazon been at the forefront of this technology? I know why Amazon hasn't, because they're not interested in helping anyone with anything unless it's selling product. Why is Siri so dumb all these years later? And then all of a sudden ChatGPT comes along and it's giving us a lot of really good information. And at this point, I'm looking things up on ChatGPT much more than I'm actually even using Google. All right, so then a couple years ago, Mark Zuckerberg got on the internet with this whole Metaverse thing and presented us this vision of the future that was really demented.
Do you have a favorite feature to use in here?
Yeah.
Something that you think is very cool?
Check this out.
Wow.
So that's pretty neat.
And my initial take on it was, I don't want to get into some virtual world and make friends with people. I have enough friends. How can this technology help me do my work? And that was never really ever shared, except when Apple put out the Apple Vision Pro announcement video that we all watched. Mark Zuckerberg got on stage and said, "Great video. Looks like a beautiful product, but the Meta Oculus Quest has been already doing everything that Apple Vision Pro thing does for years." And I said, "Really? Really, Mark?" And so I said, I want to figure out what he's talking about. And so at that time, when that happened, Meta Quest 2 was $300. Give me one of those. I've spent $300 on a lot dumber things, and I started using it. And I actually started to have a lot of fun with it. I was able to log into my computers and connect all these things, and I was working with it. And then the Meta Quest 3 came out with better pass-through, and I had a lot of fun with that. But for the past 6 months, I've been playing with these two headsets, waiting for the Apple Vision Pro to come out and saving my money so I can buy it. All right, let's talk about what I love about the Apple Vision Pro. This is a premium headset, just like all Apple products. I think Apple makes the best hardware I've ever seen out of any technology company. The picture quality is the best I've ever seen on a headset. The text is crisp. The audio is beautiful. It's beautifully designed. It's jam-packed with cameras and chips. The same chips in the MacBook Air are inside this machine. When you start looking at the tech specs compared side by side, the Meta Quest is equivalent to a cell phone, and this is equivalent to a laptop. I also want you to know that Apple freaking nailed it with the eye tracking, using your eyes as a pointer, and the hand tracking gestures. The same way they nailed getting people to type with their thumbs on a glass screen with the iPhone. They just did it better than everyone else. One of the things I did today, which was pretty cool, I was throwing the ball into the pool with the dogs, and I had a YouTube video up in front of me. I was surfing a web page. I actually recorded me throwing the ball, and I did that for like 5 minutes or so. And then I took that video we just recorded and I played the video, and I hit record again, and I recorded a second video of me throwing the ball into the pool while playing the video above of me throwing the ball into the pool. This thing is versatile, man. I grab my web browser and I walk room to room and I carry it around with me, and I go to the kitchen. I say, you sit right there. Let me get what I need out of the fridge. And it's easy. Oh man, they freaking nailed it. Now, one of the things that's gotten a lot of attention online is this battery. I actually like the battery. Everyone criticized them for, oh, it's not inside the headset. You got to carry around this brick. I don't think it's a big deal. I just stick it in my back pocket. And I want to remind everyone, how long were we tethered to our iPhones with a headphone cable before the AirPods and all this wireless technology? So I like the battery. I think it's a positive that it's not part of the headset. Another thing is I actually think it's comfortable. And you know what? I don't think it's heavy. Everyone's bitching and moaning and saying that it's too heavy, no matter which headset. It's, oh my God, this thing is so heavy. I did the math. I threw all my headsets on the scales, and let's take a look. All right, the Apple Vision Pro headset is 601 grams. That's what I measured with the dual loop headband. Now, this is the Quest 3. I'll tell you right now, the thing with the Quest 3 is the headband it comes with is not sufficient for actually using it for long periods of time. If you're going to use this headset, you want to buy an aftermarket strap. It comes in at $697, and that's without the battery. I dropped the battery on it, which attaches to the back. That's 910 grams that I have on top of my head when I'm using the Meta Quest. It's more balanced out. The battery's in the back, the headset's in the front, and it's not that bad to wear. And this is what we're working towards. I mean, Apple and even Meta have said this outright, that the goal is to have eyeglasses that you put on, not these giant headsets. So my Meta Ray-Bans weigh 50 grams. So I don't think it's that heavy. And I know I'm a man and I've been wearing other headsets for the past 6 months, but I actually think it's comfortable. I can wear it for long periods of time. Now, another thing I really like is the FaceTime. I'm not a big FaceTime user, but yesterday I had a really interesting phone call with my buddy Dana, and I was able to take Dana's FaceTime video and blow it up to like 9 feet in my living room and talk to her. I was able to flip the camera and give her a tour of all the new things going on around my house. I love it. I'm excited about doing more FaceTime through the Apple Vision Pro. And the last thing on my positive list is the safety features. I actually really like how they did it. The Meta Quest, my God, they make you scan every freaking room to make sure that you don't bump into the couch. Whereas Apple, the minute you start moving and you walk in one direction, it turns off the immersive mode until you can see what's going on. They did a great job with that. All right, before we talk about the negatives, let's talk about the meh. This is the okay. It needs improvement, but I'm not going to knock it as a negative. So first off is the laptop mode. You can only connect to MacBook computers, and it has to be a newer MacBook. And the way it works is above the MacBook, it says connect. You click the connect button and the screen pops up. Once you have the screen floating in space, you can now make that screen enormous and make it as big as you want. You can only have one screen. You can't take that screen and be like, I got my my social media over here. I got my video editing over here. I got my emails over here. You can't do that. You can only have one screen, but you can now control it through the keyboard and the mouse on the laptop. I hope in the future that it's not just MacBook computers that you can cast to. Another thing is the App Store. It's going to take time. I remember when our first generation iPhones came out, they didn't even have an app store. It was a website they sent us to with software that was optimized for the iPhone. While there's a ton of stuff in the app store, I found very little of it useful. And this is what's missing. I need Google Docs. I need Google Sheets. I need Google Chrome. I need to cast from a non-MacBook PC into the Apple Vision space. That's what we need in the App Store. All right, next, let's talk about the personas. Guys, the personas need a lot of work. It's not quite there yet. I'm excited. I'm actually going to use this with the Aerie boot campers this week. My girlfriend said that I look like a thumb. I don't think personas or avatars or any of this stuff should ever make someone look uglier. Mine's not great. I feel like I look like a freaking giraffe, but I'm glad it's there. They'll figure it out. This is just the beta version. So another thing you need to know is that the guest mode is a total disaster. I tried to let my girlfriend use it and we could not get the thing to work for her. It's calibrated to me and we just couldn't get it to work. Another thing I'm waiting on is I would love to be able to screen mirror from my iPhone into the Apple Vision Pro world and be able to use the phone to kind of power things and get videos and see things like that. I wish I could use it to make a phone call. I'm on the phone all freaking day long. I would love to take phone calls, but I think you can only do FaceTime with it. Gaming, I would say I'm not a gamer. If you're looking for gaming, I would highly recommend using that Meta Quest 3. The Meta Quest 3 is optimized for games. This is not a gaming headset by any means. Another thing that kind of surprised me a little bit, and I'm not going to make this a negative, the pass-through mode is really good. I was playing ball with the dogs, but in a weird way, I was expecting it to be 8 times better than what the Meta Quest 3 is. And I know we're using cameras. It's never going to be perfect. It's never going to match your eyes perfectly. I don't know. I had higher expectations for what the pass-through mode is. And then the last thing on this list is let's talk about Netflix, Spotify, and YouTube. The more I looked at the tech news, I started to get really annoyed with it. It turned into a whole PR thing. You know, the new Apple Vision Pro is going to come out and we're not putting apps on that software. Here's what I think. Netflix, who cares? I don't use Netflix. I haven't used it in years. I want you to know that the YouTube app in the MetaQuest VR headset, it sucks. It's terrible. I never use it. It puts you into a black space. The software, you can't see your screen. It's really hard to see and maneuver and get things done. If you want to use YouTube, use it on a web browser. And when it comes to Spotify, I wish Spotify was in this thing. However, they gave me 6 months free Apple Music when I got my iPhone a couple months ago. So I might actually leave Spotify pretty soon if they don't come over to the Apple Vision Pro. So we'll see what happens. I'm not willing to log in through a web browser for Spotify, but I am for YouTube. All right, let's talk about what I don't like about this monster. First is the price. Guys, it's too freaking expensive. This is $4,000 right here. That's what I spent after taxes, after getting a second battery. If you're interested in spatial computing and being in a VR space, get the $500 version Meta headset Quest 3 instead. This is not 8 times better in my opinion. And I would also say wait until this gets to Apple Vision generation 2 or 3. And I think then yes, that's the time to jump into it. Another big complaint I have, and I wouldn't even say it's necessarily about this, it's just kind of about technology in general, is I hate being forced into an ecosystem. There's the Apple, the Amazon, the Microsoft, the Dropbox, the Spotify. I hate these ecosystems. I don't like Safari. It's not my favorite web browser, but now I'm forced to use it. So having to set up and to work through and to move from one ecosystem to the next, someone please figure that out. And another really big negative about this thing is the mouse and keyboard situation. On the Meta Quest, I can connect a Bluetooth keyboard and a Bluetooth mouse that work with that headset, and I can use the browsers and do all my typing. I was able to get my Logitech Bluetooth keyboard to connect, but it wasn't working very well. It was giving me a lot of bugs, and my Logitech Bluetooth mouse just won't connect. It says we don't support this device. So I need Apple to let me connect non-Apple keyboards. All right, another thing, and this is kind of silly, but the cases. All these cases, they have the wrong design. And this is my case for the Meta Quest headset that I use when I'm traveling. But the Apple Vision Pro case is actually the same exact size. Now, the problem, and I don't know who oversaw this, is that for the Meta Quest to fit in here, you actually have to use an aftermarket strap to comfortably use the Quest. It kind of needs to be this size for the device to fit in here, and you strap everything in, you close it, and you're good to go. Apple Vision Pro, it's a different story. So watch this. This headset strap pops off real easy. I pull this tab right here. I pull this tab right here. And now this is the size of it. These cases don't need to be this big. Look how much empty space is in here. Even this part, this fills up like 25% of the actual case. But someone please, for the love of God, design a case that is this size, not these gigantic boxes that are never going to fit in my carry-ons. All right, and the last thing, and this is really dumb, but I just hated being at the Apple store when I got this thing. I got there early. The mall security gave me a hard time. It was just a lot of standing and waiting to call my name and pick up my thing and get out of there. And God bless all Apple Store employees. They are amazing human beings and they're doing a great job. But they asked me like 3 or 4 times, they're like, what are you most excited about with the Apple Vision Pro? And then by the end, I was just like, I just want to get out of here. I was like, that's what I'm most excited about. All right, let's wrap this thing up. I've complained enough. So if you're really interested, go take the free demo at the Apple Store. I highly recommend it. They're going to show you how the eye tracking works and the gestures, and they're going to show you this beautiful video that's going to make you weep. And it just puts you into these environments and spaces reviews. It really exemplifies how amazing this technology is. However, I would wait until the second or third generation of Apple Vision. It's coming. And if you're really genuinely interested in spatial computing, VR, I would recommend getting that Meta Quest 3. I wouldn't have recommended it so much until after I've spent so much time with this Apple Vision Pro. And then I just want to go back to what I said earlier. Zuck was right. Meta was doing it first, but ultimately in the long run, Apple's going to do it better and they're going to take over and it's going to be like the iPhone. I love my iPhone. They're going to do the same thing with this headset. So I hope this was helpful. I kept watching all these reviews online and I was like, oh my God, there's just so much they're not talking about. And I was like, I think I'm going to make my own version of it. But I'm not a tech reviewer. I'm just the average guy. If you want to see more tech reviews, let me know in the comments. I was thinking about making a review of these Meta glasses that I actually really enjoy. And this is what we're working towards. Pretty soon, the screens are going to be inside here. And we just slip on these glasses and you've got everything you need right in front of you. So let me know if this was helpful, and I hope you have a great day. Take care.